is Rachel. I'm a homeschool mom to two boys, grades 3rd and 5th. And today's video is ideas to help promote a love of reading with your children. I get asked sometimes about this. I do have two boys who love to read, and I know that is not always common, so I came up with a few ideas that might help if this is something that your student struggles with. I will be doing next week's will be about favorite chapter book series for boys. My boys are actually helping me come up with that list. And so they're still kind of working on it. So this week will be ideas to help promote a love of reading with your children. And then next week's will be a list of favorite chapter book series that my boys are putting together. I hope that this video is helpful if this is something that your family is struggling with, and these would be good ideas whether you homeschool or not. I know that reading is an important thing that most parents want their kids to be doing, and so I'm just going to go through my list. I have 13 and I'm just going to chit chat about it. So the very first one, and first off, I would say I don't have these in an order of importance at all. But this one will be my number one. It's always my number one. And the other ones, they don't really matter what order they're in, but this one for sure. And that is to make your book areas inviting. Now, over the years, and I mean a lot of years, I have been sticking armchairs in all the different corners of my house that I can fit them. Almost every room of our house will have some sort of cozy sitting area with some blankets and pillows and a stack of books next to it. And it's an invitation to your children to just sit down and enjoy themselves with a book. And so making those areas inviting, enticing, cozy, a place where they just kind of want to hang out. And that is my number one thing that I have done since my kids were toddlers. There was always a cozy corner, cozy chair area with a whole stack of books, and they would just explore them for hours. Now, if you have a child that does struggle to get into books, go ahead and search what their interests are. You can do it at Amazon, and search that with, so if they're into sports chapter books for kids. Hunting or camping chapter books for kids. And you will come to find how many options there really are. And that really helps when you're pulling in these books that they are of interest to your kids. My boys love mysteries, so they have as many Sherlock Holmes versions that I can figure out. And they have a whole stack here. We'll go through that next week. They love things to do with monsters, so we have a lot of monster chapter books as well. So learning to bring in what makes them unique, what they're specifically interested in, and find the books that can relate to that. It will really do a whole lot of help for getting them excited and wanting to read. Now, my third idea or tip, whatever we're calling it here, this is for early readers, and especially if they have older siblings. Get them books that look like chapter books, even if they aren't ready to read chapter books. I have an example here. This is called Billy and the Mini Monsters. Now, what this helps do, so I'm going to show you what this looks like. Again, my kids love monster books. This really helps boost their reading confidence, especially if they have an older sibling who's reading these big chapter books. Having a book that looks like their own chapter books seriously really does a whole lot. It did a whole lot for my younger son, because he always felt like he couldn't read the books older brother was doing. Obviously he couldn't. He wasn't ready for that yet. But having books that look like chapter books for your early readers is really, really helpful. The next idea that I have, and maybe I should have made this number 2, because the more I think about it, I feel like it's really important. But don't always make reading time compete with screen time. Don't make it a one versus the other, or so many reading minutes equals you now get your screen time, because it's really going to create this relationship of reading as a chore. Now, screen time rules I think are great. I think they're healthy. I think they're necessary. We have them. But my kids also love TV. They love screen time. And so we don't, though, want them having this relationship of TV versus reading. And so I think that it's important to not kind of make them go against each other in that way. If you're really hoping to promote a love of reading, you're going to want to create this relationship that they have with reading to be something that's welcoming, inviting, and not a chore, and not something they have to do before they get to go do the fun thing that they want to do, which most kids will pick screens. And that's fine. Again, I'm not saying don't have rules about screen time. I think those are great. But don't make them compete. I think that that is a really important thing. My next idea for how to promote a love of reading is do not be afraid of the nonfiction books. Picture books are great, chapter books are great, but nonfiction books are some of my kids' favorite stuff. My kids' favorite books. Usborne, it's now called Paper Pie, used to be called Usborne, and DK for Kids. They make some amazing nonfiction books. And again, go with your kids' interests. Do they love dogs? Search Illustrated Encyclopedia, book for kids, dogs. And you're going to find a whole bunch of stuff. My kids go through our dog encyclopedia on a weekly basis, it feels like. That book is always coming out, and the thing is thick, but they love it. My boys often will just grab a whole handful of nonfiction books while they're eating a meal for their breakfast and their lunch. Not being afraid of the nonfiction, those ones are just really wonderful. And you will find so many amazing books that are just, they're beautiful, which again just goes with the inviting. And if you have a stack of these books by your cozy book corner, it just really promotes your children wanting to explore page after page. My next idea for helping to promote a love of reading is don't stick to the reading level. Go all over the board with that. I shared, I think, in either my 4th grade or 6th grade curriculum picks, but my kids have 20 minutes of independent reading with their language arts. So they both have a bin, and they're color-coded, because I color-code my kids. But they have a bin of chapter books, and they range from all over the place. They will have classics next to Scooby-Doo mystery. So not sticking to just their reading level helps them just appreciate the differences even. Sometimes my kids will want something thin and easy and quick. Other times they're ready for something big. So, for example, just for different reading levels, I will have a classic, Charlie and Chocolate Factory right next to Calendar Mysteries October Ogre. And my kids will just go through this. They will pick what they want to read. They'll eventually read through all of them, but they'll have, again, it's just giving them, and I think Charlotte Mason came up with this idea, but providing a feast for them. Sure, some of these, like Scooby-Doo mysteries, it's not a classic, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't help promote a love of reading. And just sticking them all together with different reading levels, different types of books, it just kind of helps your kids see that there's importance to all of it. The next idea I have for promoting a love of reading is to read to them. There was a book I read recently that talked about let your children's best memory of your voice be of you reading to them. And that is a lovely thought, isn't it? And so it's definitely a goal to attempt to work towards, and that helps me remember to read aloud to them more often. Make their best memory of your voice, of you reading to them, regardless of their age. I think it's just a really wonderful time when a mother gets to just read to her children. And so that's really going to create just these wonderful memories that have to do with books, that have to do with the interaction that mothers have with their children. And I just, yeah, that's a big one. Maybe that should be number one. Read aloud to your children. All right, so my next idea is to celebrate with them when they finish a book. So, for example, my younger son this last year read the Winged Feather book, which that book is beyond his reading level. And I didn't ask him to read it, but he wanted to because older brother read it and dad had listened to the audiobook of it and they had watched the first season on Angel Studios. When my younger son actually finished that book, we all celebrated because it was a big deal. It took him a long time. He worked hard. He chose times out of his own doing to not play and choose to try and finish this chapter book so he could say that he also finished it. So we were really proud of him. He was really proud of himself. So pointing that out, congratulating them, celebrating with them when they finish a book, making it a milestone, making it an exciting thing to do if it's not a common thing for your child to finish a book. For our homeschool, we do have a reward system, and so we have a basket of things that they can earn. And so one way to earn a sticker towards the thing is if they finish a chapter book, they do get one sticker on their reward chart. And so that's another thing that just promotes celebrating. Hey, good job. You finished a book, you get a sticker. Go pick out another one from your basket. And so it's just a positive thing of completing a book. All right, my next idea is find the companies that have some kind of reading program and use them. So our local Goodwill, and I don't know if this is all of them, but if you go and you buy something at their Goodwill and you have a kid with you, that kid gets to pick out a free book. So go ahead and check your local Goodwill and see if that's something that they do. The Good and the Beautiful, they will give you a free chapter book each year. You have to sign up for it. I think that they are so close to being sold out by the time this video comes out, so I'm sorry. But if you go to the Good and the Beautiful, they do have a reading program where you can get a free book for your kid plus kind of like a sticker chart, and you just pay shipping. We have done that almost for 3 years now, but that's a really great thing. It comes with a bookmark. It's just kind of an exciting thing. Another company, I think I heard Pizza Hut is coming back to doing reading, some sort of reading program for free pizza. That's cool. Barnes & Noble currently does have a summer reading program. You have to go into their store, you get a piece of paper, and on the back of it, I think you have to read 14 books. Your kid has to read 14 books. When they have filled out the back of it with the 14 books they read, they can take it back to Barnes & Noble and get a free book. So it's just, it's an easy way to make reading more fun, more exciting, showing to your children that even these big old companies think that reading is great and they want to encourage it and come up with a fun way to make it enticing. It's just a way to show that reading can have a kind of a fun perk. Get some free pizza, get a free book. I mean, it's just fun. Okay, next one, if possible, let your children go through book catalogs. Do they still have those? I think we all loved growing up the Scholastic book fairs. Those things were amazing, and I know I always had a long list of books that I wanted my mom to get for me. I've let my kids go through the Usborne, now called Paper Pie, website before, and they'll pick out a few things. But getting your kids' input basically is what I'm saying with that. And it brings independence and it brings ownership to their reading. Right, my next idea, and I don't say this lightly because I actually did it, and it wasn't that hard. It took some time, but create a literature guide for your favorite book, or for a book that you want to do with your kids. I created one for Harry Potter, book 1, and I am currently working on a literature guide for book 2 of Harry Potter. But they will notice your excitement for a book if you're just going all out with this literature guide. And I think the reason I chose to make my own is there are literature guides for Harry Potter out there, but I wanted something specific for with my kids in mind, and the only way for me to really do that was to make it myself. So making a literature guide with your children in mind over a book, it's been really, really special. And I'll be honest, I kind of feel like I might be making sort of a core memory with my kids when we're going through this literature guide I made for them. They are definitely digging deeper. I have made Harry Potter a subject in our homeschool, but they're definitely digging deeper into the story and the plot and the characters, and I am loving every minute of it, and it has been so much fun. But it has made me consider what other books would be fun to do a literature guide for. I was thinking the other day how fun it'd be to read Peter Pan to them. I could make a literature guide. Anyways, my idea, with your kids in mind, because you know them best, create some sort of literature guide, activity sheets, coloring sheets, however you want it to be. I purposely did not make mine too schooly. There's no, I'm not adding math in with the Harry Potter theme. I'm not adding a writing essay with a Harry Potter theme. It's literally just let's enjoy the story. Let's have fun with it. Another idea for promoting a love and excitement for reading books is there a movie that goes with it? Because then after the book is finished, you guys can have a movie night, and that is so much fun. We did that with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I read this thing is falling apart. Look at that. That's all tape. I read this to my older son. How old is he? He's 11. He might have been 4. I don't know. I read it to him. And after we finished it, he didn't know that there was a movie, so I surprised him with the movie, and it was wonderful. It was a great memory. He just reread it himself and has been asking to watch the movies. And since then, well, now we have like 3 Willy Wonka movies, so that'll be really fun to do. So it's just creating a fun experience surrounding a book. And then you get to talk about the wonderful argument about how much better a book is than a movie, because everybody loves having that conversation. All right, my last, number 13. Should I have been numbering these all along? Maybe I'll add numbers or something. Anyways, create reading memories. Create reading memories, and there are so many ways that you can do this. So here's a few ideas. A once-a-month book date, where you either take your kid to a bookstore, used bookstore, library, you both pick out a book, and then you go to a coffee shop afterwards. And you just sit down, you enjoy it, a nice hot drink, and you just read the books that you picked out. Creating sort of this core memory, if you do it on a regular basis, once a month could be manageable. So that's just one idea of how to create a reading memory. Another idea, and we did this one year, this one's a little over the top and it takes planning, but it happened, is either 12 Days of Christmas or a Christmas Advent. So you might purchase 24 to 25, depending, or 12 new books. They can be Christmas or not. You wrap them up and you have a basket just of all of them, and every day your kids get to pick out one, open it up, and they have a new book. Is it over the top? Absolutely. But it made a memory. Book crafts. So if you're reading a certain book, currently our read aloud right now is Dr. Dolittle. Okay, we're reading Dr. Dolittle right now as our read aloud. And so if you just go on Pinterest and look for Dr. Dolittle craft ideas, you're gonna get a whole load of them. You'll know the level of crafting that you yourself and your family enjoy doing, and so you'll be able to easily find a book craft that kind of goes along with it. The same thing for drawing tutorials. If your kids are reading a book about, say, Black Beauty, look up how to draw horses, and just incorporating more thought and activities and crafts into whatever book that they're currently reading. Another idea is find other families, local, who want to do a book club with your kids. See if your kids are both want to read the same book and have them get together and talk about it. It would be really kind of fun to get your kids together talking over books. Homeschool kids tend to be very excited over books. And so I think it's fun for them to have peers that they can be excited with over that. And then even letting your kids create sort of a themed party over it. For example, if they were told, hey, you're going to do a book club with your friends, but you need to decorate it in the theme of Winged Feather, what would you do? If you hand your kid a stack of construction paper, scissors, tape, crayons, they will decorate your whole house. Ask me how I know that. The amount of random cutout construction paper that has been taped all over my house for years, and you take one down and another one just replaces it. It's like rabbits. It just doesn't go away, which is great, which is fine. It's a beautiful stage of childhood. Let's go for it. But kids love to be creative. Giving them that freedom. These Sherlock Holmes books that my kids are pulling for their favorite book series for you guys next week. Have them create sort of a detective theme and create props. They are gonna love that. So that was another idea for creating reading memories, is to find other families nearby who'd like to do a book club with your children. And then one more for creating reading memories is having holiday book bins. Books that are specifically for a holiday or a season, and then storing them away and only bringing them back out for that holiday. We have a huge one for Christmas from the Christmas Advent. That was a thing. But also we have some fall ones, we have some Thanksgiving ones, I think we have some Easter ones. So this creates a really sweet reading memory. My mom did this growing up, and so I remember how excited I always was when the Christmas books came out with all the Christmas decorations, and I have many favorites. In fact, I've purchased some of the books that she had for my own kids. But it's just creating really sweet memories that are surrounded or have to do with reading, and it really will help promote a love of reading with your children. So I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that maybe there's a few ideas that might work for your family. If you have ideas you want to share, feel free to comment below and add those. And next week, my kids will have a list of their favorite book series to share with you. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.